where's dinner?
And I put everything away.
What is this?
Please don't let go of me! No!
Do you want to see what hurts? That's what hurts! That's what hurts!
I don't have a lot of good memories of my childhood. I have very sad memories and a lot of lonely memories, and also being very scared.
Fear, isolation, not having friends, never knowing when something bad was going to happen again.
I felt a lot of abandonment, a lot of rejection, a lot of that I didn't matter, that I was invisible, that the only thing that men wanted was my body.
We were just so isolated. We couldn't do any kind of sports that we were interested in. We couldn't go to the school games. We couldn't be involved. We were in a very isolated situation. It was lonely and it was scary.
There was sexual abuse, there was domestic violence, there was drinking, there was drugs, so there was a lot of things that, yes, I would definitely say all came into play.
It was normal in my family. It was that generation to this generation, and I fell into it.
My last husband, definitely, there was domestic violence, there was alcoholism, he had been sexually molested and abused. He had the same background as I did. When I went through counseling, one of my counselors said that you were pretty much, trained from birth to accept abuse.
So I was raised in a very happy family, no violence, especially domestic violence and nothing. And coming from that, I think it made me a little bit naive to domestic violence, and I wasn't educated on any of the signs. But once I started to experience situations with my ex that were physical, I started to educate myself, and I relied on the WCA for a lot of that.
After he left, I went to the WCA and talked to one of the, I guess she was a counselor, and she said, I'd highly recommend you going over to FACES. I want you to take this, and I don't know what the class is called, but it's some kind of orientation that other women who've kind of been in your situation. And so I went there, and I did not say anything, but I sat there in horror listening to all these women speak about my life.
When I first went to the WCA, I had no intentions of surviving at all. All I wanted was for my children to be safe. By the time I got there, I had certainly believed that my children were better without me. And so through a lot of counseling, one-on-one and group counseling, I started learning that you should be safe, life should be peaceful, that the violence is not normal.
This was textbook domestic violence, and I had been experiencing it for several years, and I didn't know it. A lot of the emotional violence that occurs before things get physical, that happened to me.
And to think that you're sitting there allowing that, in some respects, you're allowing it by staying. It was like someone hit me upside the head with a brick. And I was just devastated, and I didn't say anything. I walked out, I didn't say anything, and I sat in my car and I just cried and cried and cried, saying, this has a name? This has a name? And it was domestic violence.
And so one day at a time, with the counselor, I started to change inside. And then one day I just started really feeling this change within me. And I woke up one day and it was like, wow, what is this? It just is a strange feeling. I didn't know what it was, and I realized that it was hope.
It was for the children that I kept fighting. I think for myself, had I been by myself, I think it would have been more difficult for me to want to fight. But because of the kids, I knew I had to keep going. I knew I had to keep fighting, and it was my duty to protect them and my job. And I loved them, and I wanted to have a better life for them.
She gave me a phone number to call that was an emergency number if I needed it. And I never held on to a number so tight as I held on to that number. And I knew then that I would be okay. I had that number if I needed it. I got through the weekend without calling it, but I knew it was there if I had to. And that Monday morning, I said, you know what? My kids need me. I deserve this life. My kids deserve a good life. I want to be here to help them get through college. I want to be here to help them fill their dreams. And from that moment on, it was really no looking back.
If it wasn't for the WCA, I would still be in a violent relationship, and I would be dreaming of what I wanted to do with my life, but not able to do it. And I would be dreaming for my children to have a different life, but I would be trapped. I would still be in that relationship. Now I get to live my dreams, and my kids get to live a happy life.
They gave me the tools to fight to have a better future for my family, to help us to be healthy. Sometimes they just gave me courage to fight in court, to tell me when to fight, tell me how to fight, to tell me to fight, because I didn't fight when I was younger. I did not ever fight for myself. And I think we would be a totally different family. I don't know that we would have survived if we didn't have the WCA.
People that know me know, if it wasn't for the WCA, I would not be here today. So I get flowers from my grandson. My son gives me flowers for my birthday. And every time I get them, I just think how lucky I am that they can give those to me in life and not be putting them on my grave.